How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Does anybody know the answer to the question? Take a risk. If you could chuck wood, that's right. Absolutely. Way to take that risk. So it's about, so where did how much wood could a woodchuck chuck? So I'm on a special assignment at Comcast. We're working on this new project. And so the expertise that I have isn't necessarily so much in the internet, although I know some things about the internet. It's about operating a production job. My jobs for most of my adult life has been sales sells orders for something like internet service, and my employees are the ones that take the orders and turn it into a working service. So I might have some internet engineers, and I might have some people that place orders to telephone companies like Verizon, and people who actually do order entry and look at the orders and make sure they're clean and all that. And in that job, understanding, well, if we sell 1,000 of these next month, how many employees do we need? Or if we get 1,000 orders and we couldn't be effective delivering 100 of them because there were mistakes on the orders. This is really about measuring and improving and making sure that you really understand what will improve the business and have the biggest impact on the business, not just, well, how do we make our orders better? I'll give you an example. Let's say we're working for Little Caesars circa, when were you all born? Don't tell me 1990 something. Okay. So back about when you were being born, Little Caesars, I think, used to offer free pizzas if they couldn't deliver the pizza in 30 minutes. Or it was Domino's, one of the two, both Detroit-based pizza chains. And they ended up having to stop because of lawsuits associated with people getting killed because their drivers were driving too fast trying to get the pizzas there. But work with me for a minute. So let's say we own a pizza franchise and you're all my employees and we're giving away too many pizzas. And so I start our problem solving here by, what do we need to do to stop giving pizzas away? And you guys start shouting out answers. And I just start writing them down furiously. What happens, I'll give you a couple of examples. What happens if we try to go off and do all the ideas that you have? Everybody came up with one idea and we're going to go off and do them all because I want you all to feel included. So we're going to do all the ideas. What do you think would happen? A lot to do. Disorder. What else? Yes? Too time consuming. We can't actually get any one of them done because we have this Excel spreadsheet with all the actions we have associated with the 30 ideas you had. Each one has 8 or 10 or 12 things we got to do. We don't get any of it done. Very good. What else might happen? Now look around the room.
Maybe they could conflict with each other?
Maybe they conflict. Keep thinking. All the ideas are coming from all these guys in the room. Now you're smart. But what about everybody else in here? What else might happen?
Is that bad ideas?
There might be some bad ideas. There absolutely. In fact, if we had 30 ideas, I'll guarantee you 6 or 7 downright stupid. 6 or 7 brilliant. The problem is if you got 30 ideas, how do you know which ones are great? It's easy relatively to separate out the bad ideas. It's more difficult to separate the great ideas out from the good ideas. So I'm stuck with 23 ideas. If I can only have the time to do 3 of them, which 3 are they? What else? What if they're great ideas, but they don't actually fix the problem? What if you say, we ought to buy GPSs for every driver because obviously we're getting lost? So that sounds like a great idea. We do the math and we figure out that at the rate we're giving pizzas away that we could pay for these in 6 months. So we buy GPSs. We voted and everybody thought that was the best idea. But what if the issue was on Friday evenings we have a high demand for our pizzas and we don't have enough ovens to crank them out? We just spent $1,000 on the wrong idea. Times 30 drivers. Sorry. That was a great idea, but it was the wrong solution. And so the idea of measure twice, cut once is really get to know your business, be numerically focused. Don't make decisions on the basis of emotion or what you think is true. Really dig in. If you want to make your customers happier, don't just assume that they're happy. Don't talk to 1 or 2 of them and figure out what was unhappy, what made them unhappy, and go off and do those things. Survey them. Make it a point to actually measure their satisfaction. and figure out why, when customers aren't unhappy, why are they unhappy? What's the most frequently occurring reason why they aren't? And then brainstorm. Let's go fix that one. There's 30 things we might do. Let's find the 1 or 2 issues that have really the biggest impact on our current performance, and let's go fix those. And if we have time after we finish those 3, let's grab the next couple and work on those. That's measure twice, cut once. Okay? If you got that green project, by the way, you know, the temptation would be to try to figure out how to just paint the university green with as many great ideas as we could. But then how are you going to change the regulations? How are you going to market all those ideas? You get lost. Rather than, let's go find a couple things that will have a huge impact, a huge impact on this university, so that when people walk away from this university, they'll remember that year we did the following, you know, X thing. No bottle goes thrown away or knocked over on the podium. Okay, next question.
10 more minutes.
10 minutes, yes.
Just I just want to did you lose any sleep at all after all this?
The WorldCom debacle? Oh, a ton of sleep. I had to make decisions, so I said I had 4,000 employees at one time. In the last 9 months, I laid 1,500 off. In the course of the last couple years, beginning like 2001, I probably laid 2,500 employees off. Now, fortunately, I didn't have to sit down with any one of them and look them in the eye and say, I'm sorry, you no longer have a job. I had to decide, are we going to shut the Tulsa facility down or the White Plains facility, knowing that there were 300 paychecks. And oh, by the way, there weren't more than a couple families that they met at work. They were husband and wife. They had kids. They'd worked there for 10 years. You shut that facility down, you're taking both incomes away from a family whose 401k is in the tank, who made decisions on the basis of their stock options that are worthless. I had my sleepless nights when we were making those decisions, not the day of a layoff. Though that was tough. And you know, if you care about things, you want to work at a place where you care. You want to do something that matters. You know, if you're going to take a risk at all, as I was talking about earlier, figure out what you think you really want to do in life and take a risk and go do that for a while. You're going to have sleepless nights in this world if you care about something, and that's okay. Just as I said earlier, once you figure out what the right thing to do is to fix it, go and fix it. Have the courage to go do it. Cynthia Cooper probably lost a lot of sleep. I bet you she sleeps really well at night. Next question. Yes?
Why did you decide to work for a big corporation straight out of college, like GE and maybe?
Well, my personality, I tend to be risk adverse. All the things I'm telling you is consistent with the old adage, those who can do and those who can't coach. So here I am standing up telling you to do some things that I either can't do well or had to learn the hard way. When I graduated, I grew up in Michigan. The unemployment rate in Michigan in 1983 when I was a junior in college was about what it is today, 15–20%. People were leaving Flint, Michigan in droves to go to Houston to get in the oil business, leaving their houses, by the way, only to get down to Houston to repair their lives, and then when the oil business went belly up, left their houses in Houston and moved back to Michigan. In Lansing, where I grew up, the car company was, GM was the #1 employer, and state government was the second. I didn't want to do either. So I had been a summer intern at GE. GE offered me a job, and off I went. So I didn't go there conscious looking back. I wanted to work in a big company, although I did have the mindset, like many of my generation at that point, that I'm going to go get a job like my father and everybody else that, adults I looked up to. We're going to work for 30 years. I'm going to get a Rolex watch, and I'm going to retire. Going to be at the same place the whole time. That probably seems foreign to you guys, but back in the 70s and 80s, that's the way most dads did it. And so going to a large, established, well-respected company like GE was the way to go. And, it didn't work out that way, and I'm very happy for all the experiences I've had.